Are you on a forklift?
Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a
Hey.
tutti.
Ciao, Juventini. Welcome back to the AJC. All right, we're jacked up. It is finally here. It is match day. All right, Udinese and Juve set to kick things off for us this season as match week one. Everybody's hyped up. All right, we got Joey Cappuccino in here. Wishing a buongiorno to all the Juventini out here. Apex is hyped. Finally, match day. We have some predictions already popping off in the live chat here, okay, with 2-0 from both Acid and Apex. All right, 2-0. DV9 and Chiesa both on the score sheet. Perfect start. Let's fucking go. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve, let's go. And now I'm hearing that there's audio echoing here. Okay, hold on a second. I will sort that out, okay? And Omer, you guys, how you guys feeling today?
Well, obviously, our nightmare has come true where everything was fine in the green room. And then just before we started, Berto said, if there's any audio troubles, you didn't finish that sentence, but you did get upset. So, anywho, it's pretty amazing how quickly the summer has passed. It just felt like yesterday we had the last game of the year. Now all of a sudden, boom, right back into it.
Right back into it. This should clear the echo. We should be good. You guys let me know. All right? Omer, how you doing, man? Game day finally here.
So, Serie is back. Juve is back. The wife beater shirt is back, not the wife beater. And I'm pumped, man. Can't wait for it. I felt like it's been a long summer, actually. But we haven't done too much business, so feels like the same season is just restarting. Let's go.
Yeah, it's time to rock and roll. The revenge tour starts now. All right, we got to come out here strong and get the job done. We're obviously going to take a quick look at the news that's coming out today. All right, and then obviously get into the matchup of what we're going to expect from Udinese and Juve. All right, thank you for everybody letting me know the echo is finally gone. We're glad that was sorted out quick and painlessly. And apologies for yesterday. I watched playback. I noticed it was laggy and whatnot. Hey. Still got to work through the kinks, but it's going to be good. It's going to be all good, all right? Don't forget, everybody, watch along later on today for the matchup, okay? So I'll be kicking things off maybe about 15 minutes before there, so we're going to be good to rock, okay? So, news. Omer, kick us off on the news heading out today. It was pretty light and whatnot, but there are still some things we should be discussing, so fire away, man.
Yeah, so it was a bit light today. The major one came out just a few minutes ago about two clubs interested in Moiskin, one English and one Spanish. They were not named. You were asking for 30 million, which I think is decent. Besides that, there's a Pirlo interview. He hasn't said a whole lot. The Bonucci saga, we can discuss it and what are our thoughts about it. And Paris Saint-Germain are still interested in Chiesa, from what we can tell, but there's no actual, offer or anything, just interest. And it also came out from Tuttosport, not one of the guys, Albanese or Nicolas Kira or anyone. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's most of it. Nothing really, really special.
All right. So, Keen, I mean, do we think this is going to happen? Do we think Keane is going to be leaving this window, guys?
No chance.
Anne says no chance. Omer?
I think anything can happen. We've seen some crazy transfers during this transfer window, so I don't want to say it can't happen because I actually believe it can.
If Keane is the push for Berardi, do you like it?
I wouldn't say I like it too much, but I've said the same thing about Rovella. If that's the big blow we have to take this summer in order to, start the new season and be okay with our finances, then it's not all that bad. It could have been worse. So I don't know. We have to see how it develops, but I don't feel too bad about it. That's a decent sacrifice.
Yeah.
I would pitch in for Keen's Uber fund to the airport to make that switch.
Mhm.
To make the
If
switch
that
for Berardi. Okay.
That is
Okay.
correct.
if it's 30 million, that's I mean we can't sell anyone for 10 million, so 30 would be massive for a player who's
We can't
not
sell
a
anyone for
first
10
team
million now.
starter.
It's like
That's what I'm
spread over
saying.
17 years.
I actually
Can we get some
think
money now, please?
I think Keane's going to be okay for us this season off the bench and whatnot. But honestly, that switch, yeah, if it gets us out of that contract too, like the price tag we paid, we felt we got fleeced in the Keane move after the loan still being 30 million euros. And we finalized that this season with Locatelli. Yeah, that's if we can get out of that, we'll be all right. And if the Berardi thing's not too bad financially, but see what happens. I think the same as Omer. Absolutely anything can happen, and I would not be surprised if something like that went down. Yesterday, we obviously had the full-on prediction show. For those of you who haven't chosen your AJC team member to ride or die with for the season through predictions, you can still do so, all right? But yeah, so far... everybody that's Team Berto, congratulations. I'll just tell you now, okay? So we're going to get it done. But hey, show some love to the other team members. Let's go. Skanga's got some decent representation there, Team
I
No
do.
Knees. And Omer's got good following. Luca, Joey Cap. Yeah, Joey Cap. Sorry, but no such love yet. Okay, but you guys got to put in the work, Joey Caps. You got to promote. You got to
What's your
get
prediction?
guys real in there. So it is what it is. Now, Bonucci. We didn't dive too deep into this yesterday. Obviously, now official off the squad list. First time 502 games or whatnot, but he is not on a team list. This whole situation is such a divide amongst the fans, and it's wild to see and whatnot. It's a shame. Regardless, I always say of what people think about Bonucci. He's always been that polarizing figure, but I would just want to get your guys' stance now that it's dusted, and there it is right in front of us. He's out of there. Guys, feelings? Thoughts?
Omer, you want to start with this one? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
This one, I hope it's not a foreshadowing on how my time at the AJC is going to end, where you guys just decide, oh, by the way, you're not in the group chat anymore. You're just out. No more links to the shows. I think that's probably just the best way to go, just to make a clean cut. But it's fair. I think you can see both sides, right?
Yeah.
The pro Bonucci, the anti Bonucci. You can see both sides. For me, the signs were there at the end of the season that a break was coming, right? The signs were there. The way he was saying farewell to his teammates when he got his last substitution, right? You kind of got that feeling that he wasn't coming back. So this being a surprise to him, I think is, come on, Leo. You knew it was coming. Like, don't do that. Could they have done more? Sure. Like I think my belief is that the club was trying to do something at the end of the last season, and they just said, and he was like, "No, I'm not sure yet." And then the club made the decision for him. So it's unfortunate. I can see that happening to me here, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and that's just it. It's a shame for me to sum it up. It's a shame for him to go out that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Omar, anything to add to what Ant had to say on the situation? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so
I think we can all agree it needs to happen, like he does
Correct.
need to step away.
100%. 100%. You and I, we had a long conversation about Bonucci,
Yeah.
I think 2 weeks ago after the podcast, and about his legacy and everything. And I don't want to get, into that part of the discussion of his legacy and how he will be viewed afterwards. But it is necessary that, Real Madrid have done that for years with club legends even bigger than Bonucci for them, and it's all good. They moved on. Sometimes we ask the club to be like this cutthroat club who takes no prisoners and just whoever needs to leave. So we can't be, overly exuberated because it finally happened. That's what we asked for.
Mhm.
Bonucci, his mind is there, his body isn't. And if you were pushing for something this season, it kind of needs to happen. It's the natural course of a footballer. He's not killing. He's not going to be top level at 39. That's just the way it is. So if Real Madrid can let go of Casillas and Raúl and all those club legends, we can handle letting Bonucci go. And I wish it, it wouldn't get dragged into this ugly court dispute and stuff. Just let it go, and it is what it is. Like Ann said, it's a business. Got to make Juve successful, not make Bonucci's legacies better.
Yeah, I could see both sides. Obviously, yeah, you're wanting a player out. You want to move on. You want to keep the list fresh and whatnot. However, it's just the contract situation is what's clear cut. So it's fine that they want to do that and they want to move Bonucci out and whatnot, but you can't force a resignation. But you can freeze him out like they have. You can leave him off the team list and you could pay him. But to try and force a guy to retire and just and like break free of a contract that you signed him to is kind of outrageous. I mean, we're not talking about the dude off Office Space that you throw into the boiler room for his office. Like it's Bonucci has somewhat of a legacy with, so it's funny because while I agree Bonucci does need to step aside, we need to get the next fresh wave in there for rotation and everything. He was a mile behind the play last season. It's just it's strange to me, and you have guys on similar money that turned down pay cuts. He wasn't even offered one. You didn't make that stance with them. And the reason I have a problem with this, everybody knows my thoughts, my feelings on Alexandro. He is, right there in the same scenario. Has been a day late, a buck short for a while, okay? Can make it work, and I will concede to the argument that in a three-man back system right now, he will provide a little more coverage than Bonucci can right now. I will concede that. However, you're making this strong a stance on this guy. He's never been offered a pay cut, anything like that or whatnot, and you never did that with this guy and a couple others before. Never took this hard of a stance. It's very, very strange to me, and it reeks of the relationship between Bonucci and Allegri to me, and that's the problem I have with it. Because when you start to have a team that's beginning to get run on egos, I start to have a real problem with that. That's my big issue with this whole thing. Nothing to do with Bonucci, nothing really to do with what the teams decide to do, but for me, I fear that that's what it stems from. And,
Yes, so I will add we have a new sporting director. Maybe that's the way he does things. I mean, it's not the same management that signed him on that contract. It's an entirely different management. And I think that something happened that we don't know about. No one knows about backstage. There was something happened. I don't know what, but I can't say it happening the way it is happening right now without any altercations between Allegri, Bonucci with someone else in management. Don't know who, don't know why. Maybe something to do with Danilo being captain or whatever. I don't know. But I don't believe it just out of the blue like that. Something must have happened backstage.
Yeah.
Well, Pirlo had an interview yesterday, and I don't know who posted, Omer, if it was you or Lou who posted on the news on our news page. He was saying that he was talking about the Bonucci Allegri. There could have been something there between the two. So who knows? Bonucci may have been the problem in the change room as well. He may have been confrontational in the change room. He may have been rallying the troops against Allegri in Allegri's eyes, right? So there's a multitude of things that could have been going on. I'm not saying those things were going on, but would you rather a player get released like this, or the scenario happen like what happened with Dybala? Take your pick. you want someone to be dragged out over 6 months or something like this where it's just like, bang, you're out?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the first time. Del Piero and Marquisio got an equally similar treatment, and it wasn't, with that much noise around it. It was from the fans, not from the club or the player. It was like a mutual agreement. At least they made it seem to be that way. So if they can do it, I believe Bonucci can also. But once again, I have no idea what happened between them backstage. As far as I know, either nothing happened or everything happened.
But to Burrow's point, it was, and to your point, Omer, he's under contract, but it's not this management who signed that contract. But
Yeah.
hey, he's still under contract. He's still owed what he's owed.
That's true.
For me, it reeks of that kind of scenario. And when we talk about Dybala, we talk about these other players. It's like every situation was quite a bit different. You know what I mean? Like they were quite a bit different. I mean, Marquisio came down to health. Dybala had like 3 years to figure out a renewal, and it was just painful. By the end of it, I said, I don't even care. Like I literally got to the point, I don't even care if he re-signs. I was at that point. So they're all a bit different. With Bonucci, we all agree, though. I mean, it is time to move. Sandro, we're going to get to the projected starting lineups. I saw those comments before because, yes, he is in there today on Romeo's projected lineup ahead of Gatti. We will discuss that, okay? The last tidbit from the news I want to talk about is this mercato. As we look at the two clubs, Udinese, Juve, set to square off. Juve, obviously, one of the quietest mercatos in quite some time. We have expected that and whatnot. Obviously, most of us are expecting one more move, but some of us think that's it. It's done. This is going to be the team we go into. And to be honest, I'm actually fine with that if this were our final roster going in. But Giuntoli is taking some heat, even with rumors that are surfacing about all this and the links to players, Berardi, Lukaku, all this and whatnot. And I want to tie this into the Bonucci thing because what's interesting about the Bonucci thing we didn't really get into is the fact that this summer he kind of remained, and I think the push was he fully anticipated Max Allegri leaving. And it came to a vote. It was not all shareholders in the vote. There was 5 people in the vote. The vote landed 3-2 in favor of keeping Massimiliano Allegri. Your votes out were Calvo and Elkan. Your votes in were Scanavino, Ferraro, and Cherubini, strictly for finances. And in the end, Elkan said, okay, the finances will win, and he did not veto anything. Bonucci was banking on this, maybe stemming from a relationship with Calvo. Calvo trying to he had a little bit of a plan of trying to bring back this, we heard about it, this Italian link to Juventus, wanted to bring Conte back, wanted to kind of assemble this thing. And Bonucci, I think, hook, line, and sinker bought into this and never bought into this forced retirement thing last season. Giuntoli comes into the mix, and playing into all this, there might be some posturing that's going on with Mercato, with moves and everything. This is just word on the street, okay? This is just word on the street. However, I don't think it's anywhere to the point where we need to judge Giuntoli right now. Everything we are doing right now, it's been clear as day. And the reason I brought back this Max thing is because it was literally pointed out finances. This whole mercato, these names, everything you're hearing, the potential moves, it's all numbers. And I said this from the start. If Giuntoli comes in, I've been talking about a bond forever because this guy's not working on a fresh slate. And I don't even think he's truly working right now. I think he's just carrying on with what they had kind of planned and Mana was going with.
Stabilizing.
Yeah, until things clean up, this is strictly finances, everybody. So not fair to judge Giuntoli if you ask me. Omer, Ant, are you on the same wavelength as me?
yeah, this might be the right thing to do. I mean, what the Rovella deal tells me is that Juve have no money at all. They will accept anything, and I believe that's the task. And he got when he got here, and just get rid of what you can. We have no budget to work with. Try to make some plus valenza here and there on whoever you can. Loan out
Whoa,
players.
whoa, whoa! Careful with that word. We don't.
Oh
We
yeah,
don't
yeah,
say that word.
easy, easy.
Yeah, we'll take it
Ooh.
easy.
Oh, it was said sarcastically, and
Oh. Over the phone? Don't say it on the phone. Okay, sorry,
no,
Omer. Go ahead.
okay, we're encrypted here. So I don't know. I mean, I get from that mercato that Juve has no money. Giuntoli was handed a rough task. I mean, few days into his new job, you gotta take a vote on if the manager stays or not. I mean, that's a tough one. You don't want to get into the deep water right from the get go. So he, Ant always says this, so I'm just gonna echo what Ant's going to say in the next minute. You gotta give him at least 2 years, 3 years to actually, kind of gauge him and see what he does. I mean, because even the signings he'll bring will take time to take effect and be judged. So if you can't judge his signings, you can't judge him. Let's wait it out and see. It's way too early. No one would have done a better job under the circumstances in this Juve. No one, no matter if it's Marotta or bring whoever you want. It's the same case for everyone.
Yeah, it's way too early to be jumping on Giuntoli.
What are we even talking
Flat
about?
Flat out.
Now
Everybody.
the vote for Max was before he got here
Yes.
officially,
Yes.
right? It was at June he started. So he's been here a month. He's been here a little shy of 2 months. What the hell are we even talking about? The guy's barely 2 months into what are we talking? 5-year contract?
Yeah.
Something like that. 4 or 5.
I
Yeah.
told you that was going to say.
Again, the finances. Now I gotta answer this for Dells, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Is there a
he's saying,
comment?
how is Lukaku on 10 million finance? So when it comes to salary, we have cleaned up nicely when it comes on salary and whatnot. But it was more the move. You're never gonna buy into the fact that Lukaku is just coming straight in and taking 10 mil. Okay. Somebody big's gotta go. So these rumors and everything about like Lukaku coming in and Vlahovic remaining and whatnot, like, I mean, hypothetically, we could talk about it and whatnot, but it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to materialize. I'd be shocked. But the move previously that we were talking about, Vlahovic being sold at the numbers that Juve wanted and then pulling Lukaku in for that 40 does a lot for the books. Massively, because then not only would that have evened out their mercato numbers, it would have went to the positive, and it would have started to help chew in to that deficit that we're trying to cut in to get into that FFP range. I've been saying it the entire summer, driving people crazy. We ain't gonna hit the numbers we want or we expect.
We're close.
What's
we're not
that?
there, but we're close.
We also got fined 20 million by UEFA.
Yeah.
July, so that's another hit on the books.
We're not though. We're close to break even. We're close to break even.
Right.
But the number that they wanted and what they wanted to chew into that, like we were talking about around 40 million euros over and above. And I'm like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way. But for that deal, that would have been for Lukaku coming in, Vlahovic going out. Again, I said like financial. Chiellini just said it recently. He goes, if they're making that move, it's money. It's money straight up.
And also, I think, Berto, you can help me out with this one. Even if Vlahovic and Lukaku were making the same salary, we would have saved on Lukaku because of age, experience. There's a tax exemption that you get. We would have got on his contract value, so it actually we would have saved on the taxes or something. Help me out with that one.
Yes, growth decree as well would have played a part in Lukaku coming in.
So he would have been actually
finances,
on
baby.
our side, yeah.
Finances. Kostic is
Yeah.
one that keeps coming up, and he was getting rumors. He's got a lot of interest. So Team Alter bringing in, we should cash in on Kostic. Swati asking the question, would you sell Kostic to bring in Berardi? Let's discuss this real quick before we get into the actual preview on Udinese and Juve. Would you make this move?
I think I will. I mean, they're roughly the same age. I think Berardi occupies a position that we have no one to play in. Seems like Cambiaso is starting today, so maybe that shows a bit. And from what we've seen in preseason, I mean, I like this direction rather than the crossing one style of play. Maybe that's something Magnanelli has changed. So I would do that because he still has some value and we can sell him, not for 10 million, but for maybe 20, 25. And Berardi is kind of interesting. I mean, I have no issues. I'm fine either way. I actually don't see a way all three, Iling, Cambiaso, and Kostic, share the pitch without European competition. So something's got to give. Someone has to move, or maybe Cambiaso will play on the right. I don't know. But the three of them with one tournament, no way they're all getting an adequate amount of minutes.
Yeah, Anth, where are you on that one?
Interesting. If we had European competition, I'd say no. Since we don't, I probably would. Can Cambiaso play the right? He can play the right side.
Yeah.
Maybe he's for Bologna.
Right. Maybe he's the backup for Weah, right? If Weah has to come out,
Cambiaso's going to be, coverage for Weah on the right, but he's also going to be playing on the left too.
Until the Shilo comes back.
Well, we cannot forget about the Lord.
Lord DeShilly will play more minutes than Pogba this season. I made that prediction preseason. That's a tough one. I would sell Kostic to help the books, not necessarily for the Berardi switch. If we need help with the books, Kostic for me is the one who can be sacrificed in this lineup.
The interesting thing with this one is the fans that are willing to move Kostic, it's not like we're like, oh yeah, like pack his bags, get him the hell out of here. It's like, okay, we could figure it. But the ones defending Kostic are like, you guys are crazy to even think about this. Like, no workhorse, energy, like all this. It's like, I get it. I get what he brings. However, it is crucial for us to have Federico Chiesa absolutely balling out this year. And the two of those guys are not good together. It does not work. Kostic has a chain on a track that he's linked to on that fucking sideline. And Chiesa loves to drift to the left too. It does not work nicely.
Well,
there is no fluidity there.
Look at the first half of the season. Kostic was unbelievable, right? Chiesa comes back in the second half of the season. Kostic sort of falls off. May have been fatigue, may have been other things, but once him and Chiesa started sharing the pitch,
I couldn't agree more with what Apex says as well. Is one of the things that drives me nuts about Kostic is that sometimes he hammers that cross in without even analyzing if he has a target or where that target is. Like, it's way too robotic. I think we get more out of Cambiaso and Iling Jr. And I said, if Iling Jr. gets his fair share at that spot, he's going to beat out Kostic. I truly do believe that. The only thing is that, and I said this the entire time, I don't see us moving Kostic because he's safe. What do I mean by that? For Max Allegri, this guy is safe, and he's a Max Allegri guy because of the work rate, because of the energy, because of the fact he could play 10 million minutes. Like, he's safe.
It shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, those qualities are important.
Sure.
Very important.
Sure. But if it's hindering a guy that you need to be balling, and we need goals, then I start to question it. But let's see what happens. Either way, if Kostic stays, I'm fine. Okay? But I still want to see Iling Jr. get his share of minutes out there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, even Cambiaso, from what I've seen. So
By
it'll
the
be
way,
interesting.
we've mainly seen Iling in midfield this preseason. More than we've seen him on the left.
This Iling Metzala thing, it's not for me. I'll just be flat out right now. Like, it's not for me. I don't see him.
For me too.
I don't
Not
see
yet, at
him being
least.
able to do it, to be honest.
Not
Because
yet, at least. Not against Real and
Why?
Milan, but
And
yeah, why?
because he's trying to play his game in there, and it's a lot different. Like, when you're on the touchline and you have that, a lot of more 1v1s, you could play your game. In the mid, if you're getting swamped and there's usually more bodies in there, it's tighter, more traffic. Like, he can't play his style of game, and he's still trying to play his style of game in there. And in the middle, sometimes you got to get it, move it quick, and then just a lot of it is just move the ball and movement and try to open lanes for other people when he's used to, creating and taking guys on 1v1. It's going to take a while for his game to translate into the middle of the pitch. Romeo Agresti, he's been watching for a while, and he's like, I don't see how Max Allegri is pushing this, because he goes, for much of the same that I'm saying, it's just he's got this style about him, and it's going to appear to be a lot to break him out of it. So for that, I don't see it.
So what Apex said here is actually true. I agree with it. Kostic would be a good squad player, but unfortunately we aren't in a position to have that deep of a squad. Which is funny, because a few years ago we barely had anyone, and like Rabiot had to play that position, and now we have three.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that horrible time of Rabiot being a left winger?
Yeah. All right. Now, and the other thing for Ailing too, one thing I'll say is time, minutes. He's not going to get much as a Mitsala, as opposed
Both of
to
them.
switching off on the flank.
Both of them, him and Cambiasso.
Yeah. Now, Udinese, Juve, okay? Season kicks off today for us. The revenge tour begins today. 39 loading, okay? A lot of you say 39 loading. Hey, we hope so, all right? So let's talk a bit about this one, what we can expect. So honestly, Udinese is going to be, and they have been without the services of De La Feo. He's going to be out still a few weeks with a knee injury, okay? Florian Thauvin is going to be the one that steps in. And the funny thing about these two teams, obviously we know that in terms of outgoings for them, Bacao to Fenerbahce, Udoji finalized to Tottenham. And this team got off like shooting out of a cannon last season, okay? Big start for them. They're going to be looking to do the same. What's interesting about this is that it's going to be very similar to what Max Allegri does. Well, we don't know if it's going to be similar to what we do this year, but to what Max Allegri was doing last year. They also play the 3-5-2, all right? And they also predominantly move up the flanks. However, they move their forwards a lot. Beto's obviously one to keep tabs on. What he does is stay high centrally, try to push that line back, and then the other forward is literally shifting left to right, trying to find area at the top, and from there, it's quick 1-2s and passing as they try to break you down in the box. They have had moments where they're really good at it, and they've had moments where it's not so good, and it's going to be similar to what we're going to be trying to do, except we lean on crossing more, whereas they in the final third do try to move the ball through the feet a lot more. As far as Samardzic goes, I don't see him in any of the projected to start for him, okay? So, Matt's asking, is Samardzic? I don't see him out there. But
yeah, Nicolo Schira said today that he's close to Lazio, so maybe there's a move on the horizon. So
that's what I've been hearing. So it sounds like he is not going to be into the lineup today. As far as Juventus goes, hey, we talked about it all. It's going to be interesting with this starting line, but not for us. You got to wipe the slate clean on what we know from last year, and we got to hope that it's guns blazing. I want to see a lot more grinta out of us, and that goes for everybody. That goes for Vlahovic. That goes for Chiesa and whatnot. I want to see that fight. I want to see that hunger, and I want to see the sequences we were seeing in preseason a lot more a lot more often. The nice thing, like what Udinese does that we need to do more of, is they're not afraid to stretch the field with the long ball, looking for Beto and opportunities when he is running at one or only two defenders at the back. They will switch field and try to take advantage of that and move into the area before looking for those 1-2s. Juve showed those sequences through the preseason. We have to do it much more often now. And Chiesa, look for him to drift off to his flank and look for us to try and stretch play out that way. It's going to be interesting. Our starting lineup is as follows, projected by Romeo Greci, and that's Szczesny.
Which is interesting.
Sorry?
Which is interesting. He never posts the lineup.
Yeah, it's very
hours in
early.
advance.
Very early. Usually just
First
gives
time.
you your confirmed, but projected, Szczesny, Danilo, Bremer, Sandro, Weah, Meretti, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Chiesa, Cambiaso, Chiesa, Vlahovic. So, for me, I'm happy. Get Sandro out of there and put Gatti in, and I am good to roll with this lineup. Absolutely zero issues. And to be honest, Sandro might be just fine against Udinese, but he also might fuck shit up. So, could go either way. But just put Gatti in there. Put Gatti in there, and I'm fine with this lineup. Guys, lineup.
Yes, so I still think Gatti will start ahead of Sandro, but that's me guessing. I have no idea if it's going to happen. The rest is just fine. No issues. Fagioli is out. Pogba is not well enough. Keane didn't even travel with the team. So Miretti
Because
was
of injury.
impressive. Yeah.
Yes.
Miretti was impressive in preseason. So yeah, I believe that's a good lineup. Good solid lineup. Udinese are missing a few players, and some of their big guys have left this summer. So we should win this relatively comfortably.
Yeah. And?
No issues with it. It's the first game that I wonder if Max. Anyone who's ever seen the movie Remember the Titans? Remember that movie?
Great
the
movie.
Football movie. Remember how Denzel Washington was vomiting in the tunnel before? I wonder if Max Allegri is as nervous as Denzel Washington was in that movie because he's not allowed to lose. He can't lose. So Max cannot lose, right?
I don't think
If this is a lineup he feels that can go out there and get points, so be it. We'll see how it lines up. I have no issues with Sandro back there. He was not a major issue last year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I doubt that the management has put that much pressure on him from day one. Like, if you don't win, you're in the balance. They will give him some time and maybe evaluate again in October, November, but not right off the get-go.
well, I am. I'm evaluating him right from the go.
Yeah,
If this is a
we're
lineup
fans.
he
We
thinks
can
they
do
win,
that.
sure.
Guys,
There's no upside to the management to putting that much pressure on him from the first.
Guys, our good friend Aldo is back at it again. I think Sandro is stronger than Danilo on the left side, so I really don't see Gatti starting if Sandro is fit.
Okay, listen. Hang on.
Madonna.
Sandro was not a major issue last year. In Serie A, against these level clubs, Sandro is fine. He's fine.
And we're only playing Serie A this season. We have to usher in the next wave. It's time to
Sure.
shit or get off the pot. We
So
don't
what
need
is-
Sandro
which
starting
one's
above
which?
guys when we're playing one competition a season. It is time to get Gatti his minutes so that next season, when we are back spread in Europe, he's got all these minutes. I don't want to see Sandro out there starting over a guy who needs to be that next guy for Juve and taking his minutes away when we're only playing one competition. That's fucking brutal. Brutal.
I didn't make the lineup. I'm
No.
just saying that Sandro's not an issue when he's out there.
First
He,
of all, that's
he
the
could
reason
very
that
well
he's
be
here.
one. And I hope today
So
he
can
is
Gatti.
not, but he could very well be one.
Yeah, so he's here because he played too many matches last season. I wouldn't be surprised if he has another extension clause in his contract right now.
I'm at this
So
point.
that-
I've conceded to the fact we'll see him till he's 90 years old. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's gonna
He's gonna be
be
wheeling
it's
out
gonna be
there.
what it is. But for me, it's just wild that, especially now, one competition, I don't want Gatti's minutes going down like now's the time to ramp his minutes up. We were even saying last year, why is this guy not getting more minutes? And we were spread across other competitions. This season, get his goddamn minutes in there. Now, key
Just
stats.
one tidbit: the club that is interested in Moiskin from Spain is Sevilla.
All right.
That's it.
Juventus, unbeaten in 14 of their last 15 against Udinese in Serie. The only setback during the stretch, a 2-1 margin in 2020. Juve and Udinese last played each other on opening Serie match day in 2021. The game finished with both sides sharing the spoils in a 2-2 draw. The hosts have suffered defeats in 2 of their last 3 opening games in Serie. The visitors conceded just 18 goals in 19 Serie away fixtures last season. Udinese have lost their last 4 Serie matches, not finishing up strong last term. Now, it's time, everybody. The first one of the season, prediction challenge. All right, and you guys, I'll remind you, but you all know the drill. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Let's fucking go, okay? Let's fucking go. So, Anth, kick us off, or do you want me to kick things off?
Yeah, you go ahead. I'm still
Okay.
working on some money lines here.
Here we go. Okay? And Joe, it has nothing to do with that, but it's about growing your talent. Who's got a potential shot for the future with Juventus? Sandro or Gatti? That's what it comes down to, my man. That's what it comes down to. Now, final score. Look at these. So we got full optimism, 2-0 for Juventus. RB Comps coming in 2-1 for Juve. Mr. Rusitano coming in with a 1-0. Moise Keane goal off the bench, RB Comps calling. Okay. 3-1 Juve over Udinese. Okay.
Well, Keane's not even there, so
He's not even there, RB, so
might want to change that.
yeah. Now, that would be a hell of a thing if he just jumped the stands, came in and scored a goal. Then that would be one hell of a prediction, RB. I'm going 1-0 for Juventus, and the goal comes from Federico Chiesa. Okay? So 1-0. I've got Chiesa winning this one for Juventus. And I'm going to say that Juve, I need a tiebreaker here. So I'm going to go over-under on cards. Usually Ant's got the ref thing, so we don't have that.
I'm totally not prepared for this
Yeah.
stuff today, but I
love those
apologize.
little ref reports because sometimes
Yeah.
that's a nice little
Next week.
tiebreaker. So what I'm
Next
going to do is I'll take the possession, and I'm going to say that Juve gets possession in a 60-40 split, okay? And that's me, and that's my prediction in here. Let's rock.
All right.
Now, Ant?
I think I'm ready. So these are all bets that I'm actually going to make.
Nice.
All right. But here's some side ones for you. So anytime goal scorer, Dusan is plus 150. Sorry. Yeah. Plus 150. Chiesa is 195. So double your money. First goal scorer. Chiesa is plus 490. So that might be a good bet for you. I'm probably not going to take that. Bremer plus 1,000. He's starting. Did you say Bremer's in the starting lineup?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's plus 1,000. Cambiasso. Now, normally when players come to Juventus, you know, they tend to score in their first outing. I think Zakaria did it. Who else did it? A bunch of guys have done it. Cambiasso is plus 1,200.
Ooh, that's a
Anytime
nice
goal
number,
scorer.
but I wouldn't put that one down, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some Chicote on that one. So here are my bets. So I had Juve plus 2-0 at 850, but I'm gonna go 2-1. I don't think we keep the clean sheet today. So I'm gonna go Juve 2-1 at plus 800. I'm gonna take Juve halftime at plus 170. I'm gonna take Cambiasso to score one of our goals at plus 1,200. And what else? Anytime assist. Is Weah starting? Did you have him in the starting lineup?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Anytime assist for Weah is plus 350. I'm going to take that one as well.
All right.
There you go.
There we go. Omer.
Boom. Bug it. You on mute?
Wait, I'm muted. I'm going all out. 3-0 Juve.
Oof.
Goal scorers are Chiesa, Vlahovic, and Weah to score in his debut. And I'll go with shots on target. 16 shots, 7 on target.
All right.
Juve 3-0 is plus 1,900.
Well, you can pay me.
I like the meal you're cooking there, Omer. I'm going to put some money on that too, buddy.
All right.
Okay.
Now,
Let's share the spoils when it happens.
Davide here, there's always a surprise with Max, especially after a preseason. Who performed well? Nico Lucci? I'm not going to expect, and while I agree with you, I'm not going to expect too big a surprise because we got to get out hot out of the gate, and I expect him to go with the go-tos.
Unfortunately, the most Max surprise there is starting McKennie over Miretti. That would be my guess if we're aiming for
Yeah, if I was going to take a guess, I'd agree with you, and it'd be in the middle of the park. I got to go back to this one with Aldo. Just keeps trying to pick the scab here. Let's rock with this. So he says the logic doesn't make sense. We can't play Nico Lucci over Alex Sandro either. I don't even know why we would talk about Nico Lucci over Sandro. He would not be good in that position. Well, yeah, no. When on earth has anybody suggested Nico Lucci over Sandro? But just like Gatti can't play on the left, neither should Danilo. Danilo absolutely can play on the left. He did so through the preseason. He just prefers the right. But he played the left through the preseason with flawlessly. It's fine. Believe me, it's okay. And again, if we're doing that to keep Sandro on the pitch over Gatti, who you have to get minutes, he's potentially, we got to know, we can't keep playing the question game year in, year out with players. It's time to put them out there and figure out what the hell we have. And now's the year for Gatti to figure out, hey, you know what? We can move with this guy solidly through the season, or you know what? Maybe we don't have what we think is there. But you're not going to do it benching him for a guy that should have been gone years ago. That's just me. And is only around because he hit a number in a clause. And they tried to ship away again this summer. The list goes on, everybody, okay? I could go on for days. And yes, do I have an agenda now with Sandro? You can officially say it has fucking become a full-on agenda. But
big time.
For all of us, I hope he has the game of his life today, okay? If he's going to be in there, I hope we get the job done. I expect 1-0 FC victory today. I would be pleasantly surprised to see a lot of your predictions come through, especially Aldo's at 4-1 Juve. Vlahovic on a brace, Locatelli and Chiesa bagging the goals. Let's go. Would love to see it. Now, Storm the Barn.
Time.
We have time for Storm the Barn, and it's opening day, all right? And we're ready to rock. So let's go. Guys, before we get to the questions here, do you guys have anything? Omer?
I have 2 questions for Storm the Barn to kick us off. And just to remind everyone, like the video.
Yes.
So, should I go first?
Absolutely. Fire away while we give everybody in the chat time to get going there. So,
okay, so I have 2 questions for you. Looking at the squad list yesterday, the official one that was published, I've seen, I don't know what it was, like 6 or 7 next-gen players, youngsters. I think that's a really good sign. We had Hoysen, Nicolucci, Yildiz, Fagioli, Miretti, and Keane. That's a good number, and I think that's a testament to the next-gen project starting to bear fruits. And Ealing, I forgot to mention Ealing. What are your thoughts about it? How do you see the next-gen progressing, all this project, and what it reflects on Juve?
Well, it's doing what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to generate talent for the first team. And it's, This is Kitabini's project here, and you can just see the fruits of his labor are coming to fruition. So,
Important. I mean,
Like,
how
what-
depleted would be our squad without the next gen right now?
say it again.
How depleted would our squad be, or how many
Oh.
more signings we had to do this summer without the next gen?
Now, here's the thing: are they gonna play? That's for me. That's the only issue. Is this coach gonna get them to play?
Yeah, the
Now,
thing,
not all at once, but
the projects I've been saying, like we started that. When did you start? 2018? Was it 2019?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'm surprised more teams haven't got on board yet. But it took last season for them to see, and we all kind of realized that these guys are ready to ball. They're ready to fire in here. And it's great what Juve's doing. It's come up massive right now. When you're looking at us. Now, granted, we're in one competition, so depth isn't an issue this season. But, and it raises a question for Ant, like that he brings up too, the point he brings up in terms of minutes and whatnot. I was saying this in the midfield too. While I'm happy for a guy like Lucci getting in there, is it worthwhile? Is he going to get anything out of this this season? Because he would have to be low on the pecking order. I know that they're talking about, the fans. We're thinking that it's probably going to be a rotational spot occasionally for Locatelli. But Fagioli can play everywhere across the middle of the pitch too, and I wouldn't be surprised seeing him in there, or Max even in those moments shift to a two-man base just to avoid putting a young guy in that. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm happy for Nicholas to be there. But it does raise the question, if some of these young guys, is it the right decision to have them on the squad list and have them around if they're not going to get minutes, which I wouldn't expect in a season with one comp?
Yes, so maybe, I mean, his position in the pecking order could be higher if Pogba isn't fit for like he was last season. Maybe not that much, but still moves him up. If we manage to somehow offload McKennie this summer, then he's getting closer to having more chances of playing. I don't think our problem is too many youngsters. I think we have just players who occupy positions that we need to get rid of. But that was my first question. The second one is more about football in general, not about Juve, but I'm interested in what you have to say. If you can change one thing about football right now, straight away, one rule, one aspect of the game, what would it be?
Easy. I would put a salary cap on teams globally.
That's the first thing you'll do.
Easily.
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so first thing I would do
Hard cap,
is-
soft cap. No, hard cap, because then you can't. There's no luxury tax like the NBA.
I would put a cap right across the board globally. Enough's
Yeah,
enough.
because like
They
the
could do whatever they
salaries-
want for players' salaries. I 1000% would put in a cap.
So you're saying put in a cap for transfer dollars or put in a cap for salary dollars?
No, I would put. So what you would have to do is a team can so whatever you give for players, whatever salaries and everything, like that team has a number and it's across the board the same for every single club, whatever that number may be.
For salaries, total salaries.
Total salary. So your roster has to be
Right.
whatever 200 million or whatever the number is, and that's it. You could buy players for whatever the hell. You could sell players for whatever you want. When you sign them, that salary has to be a certain amount. And then you would stop these, exactly what we're seeing right now. So it's out of control, out of
Yeah,
hand.
because it's
and
interesting. Because yesterday you brought up the question of what we think about a Saudi team joining UEFA Champions League. I mean, FFP is a rule of UEFA, not FIFA, so it doesn't apply to the team from Saudi Arabia. So if you join one, they don't abide by the same rules that we do. Clubs like us, I mean, the clubs in the EPL don't abide by them as well. But it is a matter of time, I believe, until they do and start restricting them. But teams outside of Europe, they don't have to do shit. They can spend billions and pay huge salaries. And now if they get a chance to play in the competition with teams who do have to give attention to that, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. It should come from FIFA, not UEFA.
Until
But
UEFA starts kicking up dirt for FIFA to make that change. You know,
So
if it
Rule,
carries
I
it.
would.
I have to explain the logic here. Because Dells is saying that won't work because Real Madrid can have the same cap as Nottingham Forest. Absolutely, they can. Because what you have to do is you have to bring down the massive, massive number that these big clubs have that are essentially what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to spread the talent a lot better throughout leagues, throughout the sport, so that you can't flood your teams. And having the same cap as whatever, the idea is that the big guys, the massive guys, and now you have a whole new element with Saudi. It's so to keep things level with and you're talking about super leagues. You're talking about all this. The problem with that is you're still going to have clubs involved that are already up here. And then you just add, so what you do is you take the teams that are up here, and then sure, you bring all these teams around here, they're trying to catch up, they move here, but these guys just keep going up as well. A cap is supposed to just kind of help everybody. Is it perfect? No. But would it change things? Yes. Yes, it would.
It's definitely a lot better than having
It's a lot better than what's going on now. But the idea is Nottingham Forest might get an opportunity to pick up a guy they wouldn't previously. Because some of these stars are still going to want that big payday. So if all of a sudden now a team's looking at them, a bigger club, hey, I've only got like 12 mil on my cap. Like, this is it. Oh, well, I can get 20 here. Hey, he's probably going to take that payout because it's a business for them too. So you're also playing into the business aspect, which in theory should help the parity between leagues, it's just, for me, it makes sense because everything's getting out of hand right now.
It'd be also the reverse.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot more teams releasing players because they can't fit them under the cap, or selling them for low dollars, and players just being released like open free agent to go to wherever they want. So
yeah, I think it would just be something very, very interesting, but it's the one thing I would do.
I would change the way that the game is played. I mean, minutes wise, I would shorten the game to something between 65 to 70 minutes, but the clock stops every time the play stops. The clock stops because right now we have roughly 60 minutes of game time. There are games that are less than 45. I mean, actual gameplay is less than 45 minutes, and that's not worth your money. And we can do anything they want about it. So I would shorten the game and create more game time and eliminate all the time wasting that has become a pain in the ass of every football match I watch. That's one thing. The other thing I would do is I would actually not allow any player to sign more than 1 year contract for any club.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
Complicated.
Get rid of VAR, though. Would you get rid of VAR?
No,
No,
absolutely not.
All right.
Because the VAR is not what's screwed up. The rules are screwed up. The VAR just enforces them. But the offside rule, the handball rule, I mean, they all have issues. And that's about it. I mean, the VAR is just a tool. It's not the rule maker.
There's nothing wrong with the rules. The rule. Hang on.
What's a handball?
They're making the rule. They're trying to make the rules. They keep adding to the rules, like to define what a handball is. Just let the referee be a little bit more subjective to say, "Come on, guys!" I
was talking to
handballs. Like, what are we talking about?
I was talking to L'Arbitro Nick the other day, and we were talking. He was giving me the spiel on new rules and changes and what they're looking at, and they're talking about stopping the clock. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he's talking about just adding way more for time waste. I go, I don't want to run into the World Cup and what we're seeing with like almost a quarter of an hour added to games. I go, now all of a sudden you got to factor in substitutions for stoppage time. What the fuck are we doing? It's too many changes. I go, you know what? They want to control time wasting. These guys have something in their fucking pockets and it's a card. Start dishing them out. Guys will wake up. And how embarrassing would it be to get a card the next game and suspended and missed time because you've been an idiot time wasting the game previously. Now you're going to face suspension. Like, we start to change way too much with the game, and it's getting annoying. I want to see just let's leave things a bit here and not get too crazy with rule changes and whatnot. But Omer, you silenced the room. And you have to elaborate on the 1 year contract. Like, why the 1 year contract? And everybody's just blown away with this. And just explain your theory on the 1 year contracts before we get to the next Storm the Barns. And we do have to get moving because there's a bunch here.
Yeah, so I haven't thought about it too much, but looking back, I mean, a lot of teams are suffering from long contracts, and it helps teams spread the payments. Chelsea signed Moises Caicedo for 8 years and Enzo Fernandez to allow them to be signed and within the regulations of FFP, which is now getting out of hand. And what's stopping everyone from doing that if they have the money? And like Real Madrid, Juventus, clubs all over the world are getting stuck with players who signed too long contracts, like Eden Hazard, like Gareth Bale, and then you have to keep them.
Piazza.
They don't want to leave. They want to stay with their contract because they earn much more money. Like Sandro wouldn't move because no one would pay him the salary he earns at Juve. Limit them to 1 or 2 seasons, then even if you're stuck with someone, it will end quickly. It won't affect your budget as much. I'm looking to help teams and make the game more competitive in the end. And that's one reason. I haven't thought it through all the way to the end and all the ramifications it will have, but the main idea is for clubs to not pay for someone who isn't playing for the club for 3-4 years on a huge contract.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe capping it at 3 years would be good because one's like the extreme in the opposite direction. But yeah, we don't want to see 8-year contracts. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. But yeah, one might be the extreme in the opposite direction. But I see where you're going with it.
Yeah, that's the way UEFA works. I mean,
sure.
Your nose is offside, then suddenly your whole body has to be offside.
Okay. All right. So we got Omar's theory there, and now we're going to rock with Aldo. How many games will Houston get this season? He's my pick for Sandro replacement long-term, very comfortable on the left side of defense, and so composed for his age. I don't know. How many games is he going to get? So I think he'll get appearances, and actually probably a decent amount. As far as starts, I don't even know if I'd put, like, are we going to say greater than 5? I don't.
Greater. I'd put that over under at 2.5. I don't even think he's staying with the first team.
I mean, it's not cemented, right? But I don't really know there.
Under 2.5 starts. I'd say 5 appearances, but under 2.5 starts.
Yeah, I'd probably feel comfortable around the same numbers. Omer, what do you think?
Who are we talking about? I missed
Houston. So how many games will he get this season? He doesn't clarify appearances or starts, but
I'd say appearances.
Yeah.
I think he'll play more than we think he's going to play. I would guess like 10, 11 games total. But I think it'll be more than that because it's very rare to see Allegri taking an 18-year-old that he just had a preseason with him, and everyone talks about that he's something special. He's not your regular youth guy, and we're actually seeing that through preseason. So if Max is all in for him while having Sandro and Rugani and 3 other defenders on the bench, and he still wants him with the first team, that says a lot for me.
Yeah.
Too many bodies in front of him.
Not
to say he can't play. There's just a lot of bodies back there.
The stakes are high this year. There's an opportunity for us to do some damage in one competition. I don't know. But
I see a lot of 88th minute entries.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I see, maybe some of those types of cameos here and there if everything closes as it is and he stays. Jack coming in here with Ant. What would be your price tag to leave the AJC for the Al Saudi cast?
Let me think about that one. That would be pretty good. You want to know something? It's not as high as you think. It's not as high as you think.
Man, Jeremiah, who will be our MVP this season? Well, we called our MVPs last year, guys.
What did I say? I said Dusan yesterday.
I went Federico Chiesa as our MVP.
I went with Chiesa as well.
Yeah. There we go. I'm just scanning. I think we got another one.
Mm-hmm.
Early shoutouts for season MVP. And do we wait to reclaim the Scudetto this season?
You all need to watch the prediction show that we did yesterday. Like, that was a good show. Like, what are
It was
we
pretty
doing
fun. We were
Yeah.
rattling them off pretty quick. It was fun. But yeah, I'm gonna say Chiesa. I'm expecting, and to be honest, I expect a strong season from Vlahovic too. These two guys with chips on their shoulders, and if we change the approach and attitude a bit too, and we start seeing some of the sequences we were in preseason, I'm looking forward to things. And one competition is big for us because J Medical has been packed for years. Hopefully, we could keep it empty this season and roll on. Will
Chips.
Pogba get minutes today?
I would leave the All Juve cast for like unlimited amount of chips, like ketchup chips, all dressed. That would be
Free
my
to go.
payment.
We'll
Chips.
take anyone with pulse.
You would leave us for chips.
Yeah, like good chips, Doritos.
Dude, what the fuck?
I'm just saying, if you want me to put a price on it, I'm chips.
Man, we've been doing this for years. Chips? Fucking
I told
years.
you to-
And
I
you
told you
ditch
to
us for
retire now.
chips.
How long have I been here? 3 years? Omer, you were here just before me, right?
in the group chat. I mean, in
No.
the team
Yeah.
or on a podcast.
On this podcast.
my
Look at
first
Tony
podcast
Trim. You're
was-
playing it up, bro. What the hell? Lifetime supply of Ultra. Come on, man. What are we
That's a lot of
doing here?
chips. I gotta
When
lower
did we
my
start
sodium
the
content.
group?
Man, you think you
3
know a
months.
guy, and he drops a bomb like
Gross.
he'd ditch you for chips. All right. All right.
All right, what was the Pogba question?
Pogba,
get
will he get minutes today?
If he's on the team, he'll get minutes.
Under 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, there we go.
Like
Wait.
10 is a decent amount.
Jesus Christ, look at this. You know what? I think Ant's going to leave now to start the all chip cast or something and just talk chips all day now. Look, we got all the flavors coming out. You
What do
guys.
we
Yeah, I
got
think Pogba might get a little cameo today. Might see a little cameo today. But ultimately, hey, it's all about getting out there, getting the job done. We saw the games kicked off there yesterday. And to be honest,
They did?
we just got to respond and kick things off the right way. And we can't have a bad start. Okay, so last year we know what went down. I said, and I will stand by this, we will know what we have in Juventus very, very early on. Okay, our first 3 weeks, month, we're going to know exactly where we're going to stand this season. There was a question earlier on about Roma. And it was from Jat, and he was just asking, are we concerned with Roma coming in here as a surprise Scudetto winner or whatnot? I actually have them on the fringe of making top 4, like that 4 or 5 spot. That's where I personally had them. I do think they did some good business, but I have them in that range, and that's more to do with the other teams. So, but that's just me.
Yeah, I had them in my top 4. I think they did tremendous business with no money. This summer, I wanted Ndika. Renato Sanchez is a good signing. We'll see. I think Zapata is going to sign for them too because they have no striker. Tammy Abrams is injured, and they have Belotti there. So that's the only thing they're missing. But if you go through that squad, that's a good team. Dybala, Pellegrini. I mean, they have good players in this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all up to Mourinho, basically.
Clown show.
There you
finish
go.
fifth.
I was waiting for that from Ant, and we haven't seen the they stink for a while, but I was waiting for it. There's a question here.
Whatever. They'll finish
Let's
fifth.
see.
Relations.
Okay, so Abby must be new here. Please subscribe. But the three of us, well, I'm Alberto, got Anthony over here, and then Omer. So welcome aboard.
But there's another 6 of us out there. Like, it's not just us 3.
Oh,
There's
there's
whole
a
bunch
ton of us. Oh yeah, there's a ton of us. Lou likes to just hang behind the curtains there and do the news, run the news. Omar's into the news, and there's been so much lately. You guys been clashing. I love it. Just
I'll be manning the main account for the during the game today.
Yeah.
So I'll be handling that.
So Ant's working the
Almost
Twitter
wait.
feed, or X now, I guess. Yeah, I still call it Twitter, okay. But he's going to be manning that for the game, and I will be here for the live watch-along, everybody, first one of the season. Now, do we have the man of the match prediction for this game? Who are you going to call as man of the match? I've got Chiesa with the game winner, and I am going to say, because I called 1-0, and I'm going to stick with Chiesa as being our man of the match today.
Mm-hmm. I think it will be Chiesa too. That's my guess.
I'm going to go with, since he's my goal, I'm going to go with Cambiasso today.
Cambiasso, I love it. Love it.
Yep.
Love the call.
Yep.
Hoping he gets a big game there. Tony Trim coming out with Weah. We got a couple Chiesas from Ron Rossitano and Matt. We got Locatelli from Aldo. Apex coming in there with Dushan. Let's go, everybody. It is upon us. And we got Rabiot from Vasco coming in here.
Maybe.
Rabiot. We'll see. We'll see. Now, the last one we're going to wrap up with. From Aldo. How much do we love Allegri if we win the Scudetto this season? Listen.
It's gross. Love him?
Listen. I have always
it's his job to win it.
And I will stand behind this. I don't give a shit about who is there, who's on the pitch, whatever, just as long as we're getting the job done. Okay? All the opinions, some agendas here and there, whatnot, it's all based out of wanting the absolute best for the club. All right? So, if he gets the job done, I would be more than happy to give him as much credit as is deserved, okay? But let's see what we do, and it all starts today, everybody, all right? I can't wait to see you all, hopefully on the live watch-along, all right? I'll probably kick off things 15 minutes before the game starts, all right? Thank you again for joining. Don't forget to like the video, all right? Drop some comments before you head out after we shut things down, all right? It all begins today. The revenge tour starts today. Hopefully we get back. Hopefully 39 is loading, and I've got all the receipts for those chihuahuas out there, all right? Till later on today, fino alla fine, forza Juve. Ciao tutti.